Well, hello, wealthy women. I tell you, I am very inspired to share this next success story with you. This is a woman with a heart of gold who is out there making such a difference in the lives of families. She's not only helping them, but saving them and improving their lives. And let me just go ahead and pass over the camera. She can tell you more, but this is for all of you, every single woman, whether you have your own children or not, you know children, you know families, and I please listen to this beautiful interview because this is a woman who is on a mission to help and serve and be the best that she can be. And all right, without further ado, go ahead and take it away. Tell us your name, your business, all about you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. First of all, I appreciate it. And my name is Tammy Vincent, and my business is called Teens Thriving Now. And I came up with that because I just realized that we're in a world where teens are not thriving, and there's so much chaos and dysfunction, and it's just incredible. So I just want to reach out to the masses, and I want to help teens struggling from whatever kind of dysfunction it is. I'm just going to backtrack real quickly. I did grow up with two alcoholic parents. My mother was a drug addict. My father was emotionally unavailable there. I mean, I loved him to pieces, but he just wasn't there to be a dad. And I didn't realize until going into adulthood the everlasting effects that that has on a little psyche, and the patterns and the misconceptions and the incorrect ideas we have about the world. And I didn't realize it until I was going to be a parent myself. And so I went on this like 30-year healing journey of doing basically throwing everything at the wall, seeing what would stick to overcome some of these negative mindset beliefs and everything. I did everything I thought I was supposed to do. I became a teacher because I wanted to reach the children. And it wasn't long into teaching that I realized I can touch maybe 25 a year, 30 a year. And I realized that wasn't enough. I was watching these kids with these hollow eyes and these just sad and, teachers, I was listening to teachers say, I can't stand these kids. They don't want to learn. And I have a totally different theory behind that. They are trying to survive. And when children are trying to survive, they can't learn. So my theory is let's reach them when they're young. Let's reach them and empower them to get over some of this stuff before it does the everlasting damage. Let's let them learn self-compassion and self-love and empathy and unconditional love and all these concepts that if you grow up in chaos, you don't come out knowing. So I did start a program. It started, I just wanted to go and I just wanted to talk to kids. So I wrote a book called Surviving Alcoholic Parents. And what I realized through that is that more and more parents came to me. Well, the children are struggling because the parents are still struggling. So it all kind of just snowballed. I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know what was happening, but now I do. I coach adults with their children. I have a group coaching program. I want to speak. I'll speak on any stage size just to get the word out to the masses that there is no shame in how you grew up or how you're growing up, but you are worth it to reach out and get the help.
I love this. It's so important because so often, we're just following, society or how we were raised, and we're not always questioning our behaviors or the why, or noticing what is needing to be noticed. And I think that sometimes with kids, they get missed for that. Okay, just go to school, do your homework, and, stop doing that or do this better. And, maybe not being seen. And then they're becoming just, more shallow parts of themselves or hiding. And rather than having the confrontations and so forth, and they can very easily get lost without even not nobody wants to lose them, but sometimes you can't even see it. And so having, your skill set to help families to recognize patterns in their children, or and for children to be able to manage with what their home life might be, those are skill sets that become foundational pieces to help them have a much more thriving life and experience. And like your programs. Can you tell us a little bit like how it would work with your programs?
So I do have like I have it all wrapped up in one. So like I have a course that goes along with the group coaching, which goes along with the private coaching. So a lot of people will just want to come just mother daughter, father son, whatever it is. I don't have a license to work directly with children one on one, so I do it with the parents because that's where the breakdown is a lot of times. And a lot of parents, I was very open with my parents or with my children and said, this is how I grew up and I'm still learning. So
Yeah.
we learn together. And that's what I want, healthy communication skills and the questions to ask and just the self-love and parents are struggling too. So I do work with adults and children. I also, like I said, I speak, but the coaching programs is more one-on-one, and then I have a group coaching, which is literally, I think healing should be accessible to absolutely everybody. So I'm available pretty much 24/7. Like if you're part of my coaching program via text, DM, whatever it is. But I jump on 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week at specific times. You can pick one or you can pick four every single week and just jump on and ask questions and just know you're not alone. Sometimes just sitting in the background and hearing the questions being asked is enough for people.
Yes.
And it gives you the courage to know. And I try to, spread the word that, your story could save someone else's life.
That is so true. And they also realize they're not alone. And it gives comfort to the fact that maybe prior they thought there was nobody they could reach out to. And now they have this whole circle of people that they can either communicate with or, like you said, just sit back and take it in. But no matter what, it becomes a safe place for them. And that is like the most important thing, to have a safe place to feel understood, to learn, to grow, to participate if they choose to. So the fact that you have this set up and you're so available, I mean, this is a program. Yes, it is meant to create more successful relationships, the family dynamic improve, but there are those cases where you are saving lives, and that is why I think that this interview is so important. And to all of you women out there, whether or not you have children or not, of others that have children that might be in need of some help, and please get this interview and connect. This is a perfect environment for healing, and I love what you're doing. It's so important, the work that you're doing. It's Yeah, it's everything. It's
Thank
everything.
you. Well, it's our future. It's our kids, it's our middle class management. It's everything out there. And we don't know what we don't know. And like you said, if you grew up in that kind of dysfunction, you thought it was normal. And
Yes.
so you came out with all these different ideas about how people should talk to people and how people should love and how people should respect boundaries. And it's just not out there. The emotional intelligence is just not being taught young enough that people can carry, that they can get through the tough times.
Yes, it is so true what you're saying. I do hope that there's more of a shift in the whole system, because everything you just said, emotional intelligence, and also uh understanding. For my side, I always think, wow, let's get some money education out there, how to respect money and how to save it, and all the things. These are foundational life pieces, right? Along with, let's say back in the day, home ec. All of these things matter to help you build up a strong foundational life. And all of the other subjects in school are very important, no doubt, but we are humans, right? And humans have to create foundational set points for themselves so they can thrive and go forward from those foundations. And like what you're creating is everything. It's so
And I house
important.
absolutely, thank you. And I house it easily for everybody because my website is my name. It is very simple, tammyvincent.com. And there I just reach out. We can talk about whatever, build a plan. I do customized plans. I just want to help people
I
or
love
steer you towards someone that can. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm everybody's cup of tea, or everybody is not, some people might not resonate with
it.
me. I'm very straightforward. But but I just want to help. So I just
Yeah.
have everything there, my courses, my everything. Everything
I
is
love
there. My
that. I
podcast,
love
everything.
that. Okay, so now this is one of the greatest parts now we're going to get into is the success questions. And this is, so often women, want to start a business or in the middle of starting a business and they don't always know what direction to go in or how to, maybe go go forward. And I love these success questions because they provide an atmosphere that lets them know they're not alone and that they're on the right track, or they learn some things on how to fix and adjust. And so let's go ahead and get into those, and it'll definitely be such an inspiration to everybody. So okay, here we go. Let's see, the first one is, if you had to give your number one reason for why a woman should start her own business, what would that be?
Emotional and time freedom. Flat
Mhm.
out, if you don't, you're not owned by someone. You are your own boss. You set your own rules. You it's just it's freedom. Literally just freedom.
That's it. That, I mean, it's so important, and especially for women too, right? Like, there's so many things sometimes that women have to juggle, and to have the allowance of that time freedom to create your own schedule the way you want it. I mean, I think that's probably number one for a lot of us. Money, I think money almost falls second place. That freedom is everything, right? Okay, so next question. Um, what would be your number one professional tip then for a woman starting her own business?
Just start. You're going to make mistakes. Just imperfect perfection. Like, let's just go. Just put your
Yes,
foot forward and just take a step. Give yourself grace through the entire process and know that it is a process. But you
yes,
can't, you can't make progress if you don't take that first step. So it's
that's
going to
right.
be, you're going to make mistakes. Honor them. Learn from each and every one. Don't ever beat yourself up. Just instead of saying, I can't believe I did that, say, what did that teach me?
Everything has a learning moment, right? It's so true.
Yes.
And I agree with you what you're saying. And it takes a while because when you first start out, I know I had this problem, especially when I realized I started to have to go visible, like get in front of the camera. I'm like, why? Like, why? That was never required before. And it took me a little while to, get over, oh, I should have my hair done perfect and I have to trim and edit the videos just right. And then I just said, I can't. And the great thing is we want real people anyway. We want to see people that don't have it all together, like they look like they're airbrushed and their whole life is running perfectly, because we can't relate to that.
No.
We need to see real people that are having success regardless of not being perfect, like you said. And I always say, if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. You have to fail forward, and yeah, learn from everything. So great answer, really. Okay. What will you never compromise on with your business?
Integrity. I will never lie, say I can do some things, be in a lane that is not mine and mislead people, because that's what's wrong with the world. There's too much saying and doing what you have to say and do to get what you need. And if you are yourself and you are honest, it all comes around.
Yes, yes. The intention is everything. The intention, right?
Right.
Behind what's behind your work, your heart, your soul. How do you want to serve in the world and make a difference in somebody's life? And yeah, I mean, the work that you're doing, that's beyond. Like, the service is amazing. So okay, so like going back to what I was just referring to, like when I had to first start getting in front of the camera, I definitely had nerves. It didn't last so long. I think it was about the third video in, I was like over it, the Facebook Live and so forth. Did you have a little bit of that where you felt a little bit uncomfortable at first? And then how did you get over it?
You know, I laugh because I remember scrolling on one of my speakers coaching groups where it was like get on camera, that kind of thing. And I scrolled through and it was 127 clips of a 15-second video. I took it 127 times.
Oh,
Because I was
yeah,
like,
that
nope,
is.
nope, 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 this isn't
Yep.
me. And then finally I
Yep.
was like, you know what? Screw this. I could have made 125 clips and I could be at the beach right now.
Yes, exactly. Having that time freedom, right? To do other
Yes.
things.
And I watched the first one, and what I did, literally, this is what I did. I watched the first one, or I watched the first 10 videos that I had, and I found everything good about them.
Oh, that's good.
So when I looked at them and I was like, oh, look at my face. Like I squint my eyes. I mean, when I talk, I laugh and I have squinty eyes. Oh, well. So what? But I was like, wow.
Exactly.
I was like, that color looks good on me.
There you go. I love that angle because it's so often we'll find our faults instead of our the good things that are going on. So I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's also, I looked at it like I did when I was in sales, that I'm not talking to people to get something from them. I'm talking to people to give something to them. So
Yes.
not being on camera is actually, I could hurt someone. I literally looked like at it like that. Like it was a disservice for me not to do it.
This was everything that changed it for me as well. Everything you just said, and it's a little bit of tough love, but to all you women business owners out there that have a beautiful service that can help somebody, it's not about you. You have a responsibility to show up so that you can help somebody else. The fact that you're a little nervous, you'll get over that. The fact that you'll be able to sell your product and have a successful business, that's awesome. Terrific. But the bottom line is you are meant to be of service. And the only way you can be of service is if people know you exist. And the only way they're going to know in this modern day world is to get out there on the channel. So that helps because then as soon as you realize it's not about you, you're just like over yourself and you're like, oh my goodness, I have a big heart. I want to serve. I want to help. Let me do this. What do I need to do? So that really is that's the quick answer there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It makes such a difference. Huge difference.
Yes. I have this one question, and I'm thinking because of your line of work, this might be great if you can answer it for yourself, but also let's say there might be a teenager watching
Okay.
that might see this part of the video. It could be very helpful. So when you are having a bad day, when you're just in a funk, and we all have them when it's just not happening, how do you fix it? How do you get out of your own bad mood and, that icky energy?
Well, I can say that I start my day a little differently, and I'm very consistent about this. Before my feet even hit the floor, I say 5 to 7 things that I am thankful for before they even hit the floor, because then when the bad things come, I start thinking about those things that I'm thankful for. So that is kind of what I do. Like with the video, when I said I looked at it and I found all the good, I just took the situation. Let's say you spill your cup of coffee. I will literally joke to myself and been like, well, the milk was probably sour. So I flip every single situation and I find the positive in it, even if I joke with myself. I mean, I do ridiculous things. The other day, I do essential oils. I spilled an entire bottle of tea tree oil on my floor. Wow.
Mm,
So I was
yeah,
like, okay, well, good. This will give me 3 days. I mean, I literally immediately was like, like I should have been a little stressed out. It was burning a hole in my floor, kind of thing. But I literally said, oh, good. This will give me time to clean that room because I can't have my dog in there for 3 days.
there you
So
go.
everything, I flip everything immediately. And it takes a long time to train your brain to do that.
And then
You
it
know, it,
becomes kind of a natural habit afterwards, right?
it absolutely becomes second nature. If somebody cuts me off in traffic, I can be sitting next to my husband and he drops every word and hands flailing and everything else. And I'm like, wow, I'm glad that I don't have to be anywhere that quickly.
Yes, I love
And he's
it.
like, how do you look at the positive in that? I'm like, because it's easier than getting upset about it.
And
There's
it's
too
a
many things.
choice.
It's a choice. Everything is a choice.
The choice. I love that. You bring back to memory, I had a coach who it was the first, I don't think she coined the term, but she brought it to my attention and I use it all the time. And when something goes wrong and your instinct is to just, go into some kind of shutdown, basically you say, this is happening for me,
for
not
me.
to me. And
Mhm.
then when you say, what could be the benefits of this? And I kind of do that too. Like, for example, like if I'm running late in traffic and I'm rarely ever late. So it really irritates me. But if I'm running late, I'm like, that's God divine's power to keep me out of the way of maybe some accident or something like that. So I always feel like, okay, I'm being protected. And when you think back, sometimes, we've all have gone through some things. Sometimes there's a bad moment in your life and you won't see it until years later how it brought you to the better place you are today because you don't have that ability to see into the future. And there has to be that gratitude and trust to know that if you put your head in the right direction and focus on the positives or how this is a benefit, the silver lining, the Pollyanna, the rose colored glasses, whatever you want to call it, it matters. It really does matter.
It does.
Right?
And I'm going to add just a little bit because you said the comment about maybe a teenager is watching this.
Yes.
Guys, I've been there. I have been in some of the worst situations ever as a teenager to where I lost hope for a minute. And I'll be honest, I tried to take my own life. And there is always something to be hopeful about. And for the teenagers out there, be your own best friend, no matter what. If nobody comes to rescue you and nobody is your knight in shining armor, you have it in your heart to be that for yourself. So be your own best
Yes.
friend.
Yes. I love that. It is so important. Especially the youth, often they can put so much uh the validation of others is such a big deal. And I promise you, young adults, you will come to an age where that just doesn't matter at all. It is so freeing, and you can get there sooner because you can say yes to yourself now. But the only one you're going to want to be in so-called, competition or self-growth with is your own self. Just be a little bit better every day. Love yourself a little bit more every
Hmm.
day. Give yourself grace and trust, and know that there's a gigantic future out there waiting for you. And you will find it, or it will find you, because it's
Absolutely.
meant for you, right? Love that.
Absolutely.
It's important stuff. Okay, on the topic of self-love and self-care and self-respect and all the things, can you share a couple of your favorite rituals for self-care and love? Like, do you have certain things that you do every day, or what is some special things that you do for yourself that,
I love water. So my husband laughs at me, but it can be, I live in Florida. It's 97 degrees with about 150% humidity right now. And when I come home, I turn on my hot tub and I sit in my hot tub. And it's my time. I shut off my phone. I sit there with my head back and I enjoy it. The other thing is I write letters to myself all the time, all the time. So where a lot of people journal about their day, I kind of do, but it's more letters to myself. And I've just always done that. I've always, thank you for the day and just I've always written letters to myself. And then I go back and I read them and I try to find a win in every day,
I
no matter
love
how
that.
small.
How did that start for you? Like, when what was that point where you just decided to maybe go from having, maybe a mindset that was a little bit stuck in a lower mode? What changed for you? Was it books you were reading, shows you were watching,
Uh,
coaches,
a
people?
combination of really everything because once I realized that I was missing, like at 26 years old, realized I was missing some basic, what you call the foundational concepts of just surviving and thriving. And I knew there had to be more. So I literally, like I said, I was throwing stuff at the wall and I didn't care what stuck. But I think the inner child work is what really worked the best for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just sitting with my younger self and writing letters to it and then having myself write letters back. And I did get my NLP certification. So I learned how to reframe some of those things and just be cozy with my younger self because we all have that younger self inside of us.
Yes.
And it was, but I did a lot. I did a lot of work, but like I tell people now, it took me 10 years and then I discovered emotional freedom technique, tapping
Yeah.
and I was like, wow, I can just tap out a bad feeling. And
Yeah.
so that is kind of like when I made that decision, everything is a choice. At one point I just finally it snapped and I went, wait, I can choose. I'm going to have an abundance of emotions every day. An
Yeah.
abundance. You have how many millions of thoughts coming at you?
Hmm.
I'm going to choose the better ones. I'm going to choose the ones that lead me to my ultimate goal, which is happiness.
I love this. I'm doing something a little different with you in this interview because I think it's important because I'm hoping that the women that view this, if they know of some young adults that might need to see a couple key parts in this interview that maybe will resonate. So I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, can you give two examples? Let's take it to a teenager, a young adult, maybe I don't know, a typical problem they might be having. Maybe it's acceptance from friend group or something like that, or some sort of bullying or something like that. That's a popular problem that's going on, social media stuff. Can you give an example that they can do with NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, like something they can do to maybe fix that right away? And also the EFT, the tapping, because maybe if they see that, you never know, they might start a new little habit in the morning just because of this one interview, and it could benefit and change their life. And of course, all of you adults should be doing it too. But let's focus in on a typical teenager issue, and maybe how can you help with that?
Okay, well, let's do one that we all have. Let's do that voice in ourself that tells us that we're stupid, or we hear that and then we just grab that and run with it. I'm dumb. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. You have a voice. Like people, you literally will hear it in your mind. And of course, it's your mind saying it, but it's basically your subconscious mind. So I tell people when you have something like that coming at you, and I do the inner critic a lot, even with teenagers, because they have it. Because a lot of them are being told, you got an A, great. Why didn't you get an A in all your classes? Like
Yeah.
that's not good enough. So say you get that thought of, or somebody tells you you're stupid, you know, and then you repeat that. Close your eyes and picture whatever it is saying that to you and stop them in the tracks. Picture what it is. It could be your mother, it could be your father, it could be you, it could be yourself doing it. It could be your brother, whatever it is. You're going to have a vision of what it is. Close your eyes and back them away. So if they're really loud, make them quiet. If they're really close and in your face, back them out of your personal space. And literally, visualization is huge. And talk to that little person, that person. Because I can remember my inner critic was my mother, and it was like, stop. And she was so loud. And I would just be like, you're going to back away now. And I would, until I could get her physically, picture her walking backwards, getting smaller, 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 smaller. And you can do that with the people that hurt your feelings. You can do that with, anybody is that hurts you. You can literally, the other thing is, let's say you walk into class and somebody raises their eyebrow at you funny. Now, if you're a little insecure or you're a little self-conscious, your immediate thought is going to be, oh, I must have done something wrong. Like you're going to be looking around like, what did I do? What did I do? When somebody does that, give it a different story. Like go, oh, they must have had something on their eye. Like I said, I do ridiculous things to help me get through things, but oh, they must have had an itch on their eye. That's why they raised their eyebrow. Make something up. So every
Yeah.
time, and do it over and over again and convince yourself of this. So then the next time you walk in a room and someone raises your eyebrow, you're gonna be like, oh, they must have a bug on their eye. You're not even going to think about it. But it's
Gotcha.
it's called reframing. So it's like you
Yes.
have to reframe because somebody at one point raised their eyebrow at you while they were telling you were an idiot. That's how you got that thinking.
The association. Hmm.
So, and if you can't see something, if it's not tangible, so if you walk in and somebody raises their eyebrow, the only fact is that they raised their eyebrow. What you're coming up with is that they're telling you you're stupid or that they think you are wearing ugly shoes. So you're making all that up. Nobody said you were stupid. Nobody said you're wearing ugly shoes. So if there's no tangible fact behind it, make up your own story.
I love that. I love that. Okay, give me a tapping example for maybe the same scenario. I'm not good enough. How do you tap that out?
Okay, so I would do that. Now, tapping is like meridian points, and you can look online and it will show you a chart. They're like here and here and here and here. You know,
Mhm.
there's your collarbone, there's like nine of them, and they're under your arm. And so, what you're basically tapping, and I would suggest to anybody if you want, I'll go over the basics of it, but go online and just type in literally Google tapping, or go on YouTube and put tapping for anxiety or tapping for fear of flying, whatever your thing is. And because literally what tapping is doing is it is hitting the energy points, but it's opening up your mind. And then you're just walking through the scenario with yourself and you're giving yourself better situations. And you're telling yourself the whole time that you're lovable and that you respect and value yourself. So let's say you know that you go home at night and you're like angry and you're like, oh man, why did I let him do that? I let people walk all over me. So you might tap out, even though I let people convince me of things that I don't like, I love and deeply value and respect myself. So as you're tapping these points, you're saying, kind of repeating the same things over and over again, and you're speaking facts. So it's like, I am a strong person. I am a valuable person. I am a worthy person. And it's, like I said, it's very generalistic what I'm doing because I don't want to give you wrong. And, this is a quick
Yeah,
interview, but tapping is amazingly
it
powerful.
is. It is.
And you can do it for, even though my hip hurts, my body is strong. You can do it for health issues. You can do it for a lot of things. But it's really just opening up. I mean, I'm a firm believer in that we're all energy. We all have these, like this. If you looked at a roadmap of our body, it's all connected with nerves
Absolutely.
and energy and everything else. So it just kind of opens that flow because usually there's something stuck in energy. If you get a feeling in your stomach, like a clenching in your stomach, which a lot of kids have right now, a
Yeah,
lot of kids have right now. They're just constantly tight and clenching. You can tap out, even though my stomach feels irritated all the time, I know that I am worthy to have a better stomach,
I love this.
and
It is so
so
true what you're saying. It makes such a difference. You wouldn't think, but the little things that because of the combination of the physical connections and the words and the visualizations and what you were saying with like the NLP or the reframing is so important. And it really they're quick. They're simple things and they're quick and they can change the situation for yourself and pull you up and make you strong and happy and powerful again. And I even have another one like I don't know the whole of it, but I was all coaches have coaches, right? And so my
right,
coach it was something related to my family and I was absorbing it, right? So let's say it was a negative I didn't realize it and my behavior was going in a way that wasn't that I could do better, right?
right,
So anyway, I guess I'm saying this to the young adults. Imagine there's maybe a bully at school or something like that. And they're just angry and they're in your face and all the things. Like you were saying before, close your eyes and make them smaller, their voice is smaller, push them back. You can also in that moment pretend that they're in your hands and you could say, this is your story. This is your issues, and I'm going to return them to you. They're not mine, they're yours. And so this can clear you of all of their sort of the
negative
power
energy.
that you thought
Mhm.
they had on you. They don't. Give it back to them. It's
It is.
theirs. It's not yours to
Yes.
handle. And this was really powerful for me. Of course, this was a short version and I don't exactly know all of um the terms for what this was, but it was definitely a breakthrough. And I'm really glad that we just did this now because all of the points in this beautiful interview are so helpful that someone can kind of get going now and start to feel better now and be in their power. And like I said, thank you so much for being a part of this. And before we sign off, please share your website one more time so people know how to find you.
It's just my name, www.tammyvincent.com.
Perfect. Thank you so very much for the work that you're doing. Never stop doing it. You
Mm-mm, I
won't. I know you won't. This is your mission in life.
won't.
You're
Mhm.
here to help and make lives better, and the double blessing is that your life is better because of that. So it's just a beautiful circle of good energy, and I'm so thankful for you to be here. And please reach out. These kids are having, it's a little different of an experience nowadays from
Mhm.
maybe back in some of our generations where it was just ride our bikes all day until our parents called us in and climb trees and all the things. We had our problems too, but there's a different set of problems right now. And I think kids need to be connected with their families, feel safe, and have a beautiful help, like, coach, transformational catalyst, just a gift, a blessing like you to help them, navigate. So thank you again for being here.
Thank
Yeah,
you for having me.
my pleasure. All right, wealthy women, please reach out. Please share this. This is a very, very important success story interview because it is about helping all of us build better relationships, but let's pay attention to our children out there. They need us and we need to show up for them. So let's make it a soft place that they can land and feel safe to talk. So, okay, that's it for now. See you next time.